Wow, what can I say?
An amazing job, fantastic shoot, taking time out in Yorkshire to do a beautiful shoot with an amazing bride in a fantastic location. We've got Chris Chambers with us.
Thank you, Chris, for putting that all together for us.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Jeremy. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, you know what? Chris has been working with us for 10 years or more, and we've had the pleasure of hosting Chris's workshops over at the castle, and I think you've had more workshops at the castle than anybody else, and we were due to go back there for twice this year, which unfortunately had to be postponed, and last year's had to be postponed. But I know that we're going to talk about your workshops in a little bit, and we're going to show people about your workshops. The key thing about what we're going to do during this discussion is to talk about how Chris takes those amazing photographs into sales with his albums, the way that he gets clients to really want to have so much more in their album in terms of the photographs, the pages, and how you do that, and the things that we're going to talk about. So welcome, Chris. I just want to show people a little insight into what you do with your workshop, if that's okay. And you've given it very kindly, created a slideshow, an amazing slideshow, which shows the real range of what Chris does for his clients. And so let me just run this through now. Give me a second. Hopefully everybody in Italy is ready to take the slideshow. Let's just have a couple of minutes just watching Chris at work and what he does for us over in Italy. So apparently we've got no audio going on. Hopefully you guys can hear us. But this gives a real insight into Chris's workshop, the team that goes over there, what he does, the stuff inside the factory, the whole experience that people have when they go on one of Chris's workshops. It's amazing to watch, and I've had the pleasure of helping you during one of the workshops, Chris. And I know that your clients, your guests, your students are with you from early in the morning to often late at night, and I know we'll see one of your night shots, which you also do too. So for me, it's that experience of seeing incredible photography and using the facilities that we give you. We'll even right the way down into the river, which even in the summer months I know is quite cold when your feet are in there. There's some fantastic locations. So anyone who's thinking about coming over to the castle for one of the workshops, I urge you to look at Chris's workshops, because you get so much possibility there, and even drone photography as well. Isn't that right, Chris?
Yes, so certainly something we're planning on bringing in this year was a drone element to the castle workshops, actually having some specific drone training, and actually people being able to fly drones and use the drones for wedding images and for the architectural photographs as well.
I know that everyone that comes leaves, and often many come back again, don't they? I've seen VJ there, who I know is a great fan, and done multiple workshops with you, because it's such a great experience, and I think that's part of it, isn't it? It's, yes, you learn so much stuff, but it's a great experience. People spend time there.
It's a combination of the experience, obviously the opportunity to go out and photograph at such a fantastic location, as well as obviously the educational element to it, the social element as well, as much as anything. We collect the trainees from the hotel first thing in the morning, so they're up at the castle by 9 a.m. usually, and often they can be there at midnight still. Very, very busy days, but really, really good fun, and just a stunning location to use.
And is it because there's nobody else there that it makes the difference? No other hotel guests or anything like that? Is that what helps to make it much more of an experience for you?
I think it does. It's the combination. Obviously, yeah, you've got that sort of unique opportunity to shoot there, no one else around, but also probably just the environment that you're in and the different sort of locations that we can make use of around and about the castle, and just that different experience that we have that just works so well. And to be fair, it's hard to take a bad photograph at the castle. Let's be honest.
Yeah, they've done a great job of lighting at night time, but also for you, we also turn all the lights off,
Yes,
don't we?
yeah.
So I know within this slideshow here, you've got one of your nighttime sky shots, which just shows what the place is like once it gets to dark as well, which is really quite amazing. Now, you were due to be out there twice this year, which have been postponed, but you do have other workshops, don't you, Chris? There's other ones that you put on.
Yeah, that's right. So on a regular basis, we host a variety of workshops around the predominantly Yorkshire area, where I'm actually based, but we also travel down to London, up in Scotland. Usually we head over to Paris once a year. Again, that's been postponed for this year, but won't be looking at for next year. But yeah, later in the year we're in the lakes. We're down in London again for a couple more workshops, and yeah, just around Yorkshire and Hertfordshire as well.
Yeah, I mean, you can just see from the slideshow now that the lighting that's around the castle for nighttime work
it's just stunning.
was just superb, isn't it? And I think that's part of it. It gives you every element that you need to be creative.
Yes. So the shot we're looking at the moment, that was taken at 2 a.m. That was the longest training day I've ever had.
Oh wow!
We
and look at that
were there at 2.
Shot as well.
Yes.
That was just outstanding, wasn't it? So for anybody that's interested in finding out a little bit more about your workshops, is it chrischambers.co.uk?
Just chrischamberstraining.co.uk, so it should be on screen at the
there
moment.
There we go, there it is, straight there now. So there's a little insight into Chris's work and to what he does from a training point of view. But now we're going to actually talk a lot more about how you actually work with your clients, because despite the fact that you do so much training, you're also an incredibly busy wedding photographer in your own right. And you win awards for your wildlife photography and your landscape too. So I mean, all the different scopes of photography are there. Let's talk a little bit about your wedding clients, because ultimately that's really where your whole business kind of started out from, wasn't it, in the weddings, and it's grown from there.
Yeah, definitely. So going back 14 years ago now, and back then it was all about albums. So I was very lucky that I was a very early adopter of digital, and then a very early adopter of Graphistudio at the same time.
Yeah. We thank you for your business, knowing that, today we've had people that have been with us for over 20 years, Jane Briscoe-Price, who was the first speaker this morning, and right the way through to new photographers who haven't known much about us. And I think once people get to see the capability they have, and that's why we're so pleased and privileged that you keep coming out to the castle too. So back to your clients, your mission is to get your clients to want to have as many pages in their album. Tell me a little bit more about how you actually put that process together.
Okay, so I design my display albums, the albums that the customers see when they come to visit me, with an average of 2 photographs per page. So every album that they have in the office is 2 photographs per page throughout the entire book, and the average book in the office is between 60 and 80 pages, right. So between 120, 160 images in the display books. So when a customer comes to select images for their album, to create an album which has the look and feel of the album that they fell in love with in the office, they're looking at 2 photographs per page, and that's as an average for the entire book. So when we shoot a number of big landscape double page spread images, then obviously that's helping to increase the page count in the albums for me, and obviously upgrade the customers. And they're self-upgrading. There's no hard sell involved in this process. There's no pre-design and giving them extra pages. They're doing it themselves, which is such a nice process.
You like square or vertical books, don't you? Tell me why you like that.
Okay, so and I've always felt at odds doing this, but I love square, I love portrait, because a portrait album, when you open a portrait album, the double page spread is near as damn it the same ratio as my camera. So although a square album is 2:1 and there's a little bit of cropping involved, I shoot a lot of landscape, and I purposely shoot a lot of landscape images on the wedding day because I know they'll make double page spreads.
Right.
Which again,
and hence more pages.
Yes, exactly.
Excellent.
Yeah, leads on to more pages in the book as well.
And I know a lot of photographers have always thought traditionally about a landscape album, which when you open up, because of the ability, if you're thinking a matted album, that's great because you don't have across the seam printing, which is what we invented almost 25, nearly 30 years ago, which was the lay flat album. But with a vertical book, a portrait orientated book, you've got that double page spread, which you can add other photos to. So your upsell then is, because they want to have more those double page images, that's giving them that chance to actually buy more without you even having to sell it.
That's right. So the average album will have 6 to 10 double page spreads. So that's just 6 to 10 single images as well, which is fantastic. And just say if it was a landscape storybook, then that's just 1 page. So I do offer a matted album. That's my top album package that I offer, top album collection. And yeah, that one's a landscape album because it suits the landscape images as a single page.
How many weddings do you shoot a year on average? Not last year, because that wasn't an average year for anybody.
Far from typical, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've actually brought my weddings down now. Now people still sort of bulk at this number, but I shoot between 60 and 70.
And you do those yourself?
Yes.
So 60, 70 weddings a year, and you run multiple training courses, and you do the landscapes and the wildlife and everything else to do with that as well. Are you ever at home?
Occasionally, but I love doing what I do. I absolutely love it. I don't outsource any of the editing, any of the processing. I do it all myself. I want it edited, processed in my style. That's what I'm shooting for. That's what my customers are booking me for. And then the landscapes, the wildlife is an escape. Photography is still a hobby for me. I still love doing it, and it still motivates me to get up in the morning.
You can sense that. I mean, I know Martin Baines, who worked with Graphistudio for many years. He's now the CEO of the British Institute of Professional Photography. He was the one that always wanted to come out and help on your class because he always loved being involved in it. And I had the privilege of coming out to help when Martin couldn't make it. But we had the Giro d'Italia come through, didn't we, a couple of times when your workshops on. But I know that everybody leaves there almost exhausted the amount of learning they've had to do or wanted to do because the experience they have, and that shows in the training too. Your clients obviously feel that enthusiasm.
Definitely, and I don't know if this is typical, but I have so many grooms that go on to become wedding photographers. They sort of see what happens on the day, how much, maybe so. But yeah, I've got plenty of grooms that have gone on to become wedding photographers in their own right. So
so you actually, you earn well from them as a couple, and then you carry on bringing them back in training. Fantastic.
So yeah, that happens quite often.
Good. And do they get their wives to be models as well? Does that work too?
I haven't done it yet, but
Right.
there's always opportunity.
Do you use professional models in your training, or do you use previous couples?
So I have a mix of both, and going back a couple of years ago, I had a couple come and see me for a consultation for a wedding, and we were chatting, and they very quickly became models for me, which was great because we did the pre-wedding shoot out in Paris with a group of trainees, and then they've gone on to do various workshops with me. And sometimes it's good to have a professional model, but occasionally it's great to have someone who isn't as professional because they require that direction. A professional model, if you ask them to go stand, they'll pose, they'll turn the body and work with lights. A new person won't do that. Someone who isn't professionally trained won't do that, and that requires a direction. The trainees can then see that direction.
Well, I think that's part of becoming a wedding photographer, isn't it? Because people who pick up a camera and think they can be a photographer, it's a very different world to being a wedding photographer, because what you have to do as part of your job is not just take pictures, is it?
Definitely not, and there's the element of crowd control. Obviously, you've got people management, we've got the posing aspect. You're a landscape photographer, you're an architectural photographer, and everything all rolled into one. So it's multifaceted in terms of what we do. Good fun.
I think also that's one of the reasons why I'm sure you do, but I know I like the castle because there's so many different textures and places to shoot, be it raining or be it a nice day, both indoors and outdoors. And I think I've seen a lot come from your workshops where people have created things like, I never thought about that. And do you enjoy that part of it there?
Absolutely love it, and I don't want to go. I've been to the castle, 4 workshops so far at the castle, and I want to create different images each time. So yes, there'll be some commonality. Everybody wants to photograph of the castle, the driveway, the castle in the background. But I want to create things that are original, things that are unique to that workshop, as I do on a wedding day. So when I shoot a wedding, local venues to me, I may photograph 100 weddings over the period of the last 10 years at those venues. But I want to give that couple something unique. I want to give that couple something that is theirs and hasn't been done before.
Keeps you fresh.
Keeps me fresh. Yeah.
Keeps you finding the exciting different parts of the venue and stops you being bored, I guess. It's
Yeah,
not just
definitely.
an everyday machine that you're putting out there. So and I know this is one of the things that talking to a couple of people I know who've been out there, the reason why they keep going. And we talked earlier that you were thinking, you know what, I've done the castle so many times, time for doing a change, and then what happened?
Yeah, so yeah. And I've said this before on the castle workshop. This is the last workshop at the castle, but you drive out of the gates at the end of the week, so Friday afternoon, you're sort of heading back down to Venice, and you think, I've got to come back. I've got to do it again. Yeah, it just bites you. You get bit and you get smitten by it, and yeah, you have to go back. And yeah, it's a fantastic opportunity.
It really is an inspiring place. It's a place where, well, I know that everybody who goes from workshop leaves motivated in some way, shape or form, and even us. You know, we go out there, you know, regularly, and even us, we find that, you know, and I know I previously was thinking, oh, another workshop coming up, you know, it's hard, you know, it's hard work, isn't it? It is graft. But then when you don't go, you miss it.
Yes,
you know, you really do.
This year's been hard because of that as well, and certainly last year again, exactly the same. So really looking forward to hopefully next year, things back on an even keel and being out there again.
Well, we're so talking about you know, the future and what's happening. How's your business looking in terms of the weddings? What's going on in your world? Because we hear lots and lots of different stories. Some of them super positive, some of them less positive because they're trying to fit in so many weddings on the days that they already booked. What's happening in your world?
So excuse me, sorry, shouting. But essentially through a Facebook group that I manage, we've had various conversations about weddings and marketing, what's been happening. I found that January was very, very quiet in terms of new bookings, new inquiries, as to be expected with lockdown. That's now starting to change. We're now starting to see inquiries, bookings coming in, and it's reaching the point of almost sort of one booking per day at the moment. So you know, that's really positive. There's light at the end of the tunnel. The diary's quite full, but venues were very good at moving couples to midweek dates, to quieter dates, to quieter periods. So it did leave some Saturdays, some weekend availability in the diary, which meant that obviously we can put those new bookings in there. So yeah, it does mean we've got a very busy year coming up post June and then into next year. But yeah, it should be.
2021 should be, if people manage their diaries right, a really, really busy year. And I hear different stories. Some saying, you know, I'm only going to do the same number of weddings, you know, because I'm all right, Jack. I had enough money to survive during lockdown. And then there's others saying, I'm going to put as many weddings as I can in because I just want to get out there shooting as well. So I think that's you know, one of the key things is how can we best, it's not capitalise, but make sure we give the right service to our customers too. And I think, you know, is that something from your world that you see in the groups that you manage too, that people are just thinking, how can I give the best service for all these new bookings?
Definitely. You know, it's fitting in the existing bookings, the rescheduled bookings with the new couples, the new ones that are coming on board, and then making us work differently, making us think differently in terms of what we're doing, and looking at the moment where we've got couples rescheduling for dates that we're already booked for, bringing in associate photographers to shoot for us, and I think it's been a big learning curve for everybody over the last 18 months, and it's going to make us stronger at the end of it.
Yeah, I think the good businesses will get stronger from it, and I think if we all look, and that's one of part of the reasons why we've done this weekend is to bring as much information to people that we can on, you know, thinking about the future, thinking about managing their business, and particularly obviously with product and sales. So you know, I'm very excited for the future, and I know the conversation we've had today, you know, you are too, and I'm looking forward to be able to share your next workshop. Just remind us again, when were your workshops that you've got coming up? You've got Lake District.
We've got the Lake District in October. That's a 2-day wedding workshop. We have London in September, and also in September we have up in York at the castle where the shoot was today, or the video from the shoot. We have what we're calling 2 big days, where we're bringing a number of trainers, a number of different photographers, and also the opportunity for free reign. So although it's workshop based, photographers can book times with models and go off and actually shoot as a group with models on different scenarios, different setups, bridal and fashion.
So just look to your website, you can find out more information on that, and I'm looking forward to joining you at certainly at least one of those workshops for sure, just to bring along a little bit of a graphy flavour to that too. So I think we're almost about out of time for this. I've got to tell you, coming up soon is going to be Sean LeBlanc, who's going to be talking some amazing stuff on the way he shoots. Now he's gone from working in engineering through to being a photographer too, talking about wall art. There is so much more tomorrow, and we're going to tell you a little bit more about that later on. Hopefully you managed to get in and into the competition, which was I know you probably didn't because you were busy driving, but I want to thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for driving down. Thank you very much, Chris, and